Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now in the Children of Adam section of Leaves of Grass to 1 Hour to Madness and Joy. Now, some readers of this poem have pointed out that this may be the central poem of the Children of Adam collection. Some have called it the central climactic poem, almost like a fulcrum of a kind. Now, the assumptions here are, let's get them out of the way, are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net all the way from the very beginning lectures down that left-hand side Talks with Walt playlist, from the beginnings with inscriptions up through just recently Spontaneous Me. Now let's go quickly to some background information of this poem, and our Nortons will tell us that this was originally the number 6 poem of the Children of Adam group. The poem took its present title from the first line added in 1867. Another significant change for the 67 edition was the dropping after line 7 of the lover's adjuration. Quote, "No, I am a man attracting at any time her I look upon or touch with the tips of my fingers, or that touches my face or leans against me." End quote. After 1867, the text pretty much remained as it is with some minor changes. Now, when we look at a poem like this, there's a couple of texts that we've already read that I want you to be at least conversant with. The first of those is, do you remember the 19th section of Starting from Pomanog? "Oh, Camaretto close, oh, you and me at last, and us two only. Oh, a word to clear one's path and ahead endlessly. Oh, something ecstatic and undemonstrable. Oh, music wild. Oh, now I triumph." You remember all of these O's? Do you remember that there was in fact 9 of them? We're going to see 12 of these O's in 1 Hour to Madness and Joy. The other set of lines that I want to remind you of is passage 24, Song of Myself. Notice that we keep coming back to Song of Myself in our study of Children of Adam, and we'll see more of this in future poems as well that we study. Walt Whitman, A Cosmos, I've talked about all these lines. Of Manhattan, the sun, turbulent, fleshy, sensual, eating, drinking, breeding, no sentimentalist, no stander above men and women or apart from them, no more modest than immodest. Unscrew the locks from the doors, unscrew the doors themselves from their jambs. Notice all the exclamation points. We're going to have 24 exclamation points in the poem 1 Hour to Madness and Joy. I'm pointing it out to you. Whatever degrades another degrades me. Whatever is done or said returns at last to me. Through me, the athletes surging and surging through the current and index. I speak the password primeval. I give the sign of democracy. By God, I will accept nothing which all cannot have their counterpart of on the same terms. Through me, many long dumb voices, voices of the interminable generations, and then he lists them, of course, to skip down the voices after that. Through me, forbidden voices, voices of sex and lust, voices veiled, and I remove the veil. We're going to get to some of this in this poem, so I'm pointing it out to you. Voices indecent, by me clarified, transfigured. I do not press my fingers across my mouth. I keep as delicate around the bowels as around the head and heart. Copulation is no more rank to me than death is. I believe in the flesh and the appetites. Seeing, hearing, feeling are miracles, and each part and tag of me is a miracle. Divine am I inside and out. And of course the most radical lines of 24. And I make holy whatever I touch or am touched from. The scent of these armpits is more finer than prayer. This head more than churches, Bibles, and all creeds. If I worship one thing more than another, it shall be the spread of my own body or any part of it. Now, we read all of that to get ready to read this. Let's now work through it. I wish I had more time and I would go ahead and read it all and then come back to exegete. Let's just exegete as we read. 1 hour, by the way, notice his use of the word hour. He loves it in Leaves of Grass, so you'll want to pay attention to it. Notice it's not 1 hour of madness and joy. It's rather 2 madness and joy. We're going to pay attention to that because of the shift at the end of our reading here. And then the word joy, I mean, just go back and read everything we've read of Leaves of Grass and just comment on how many times the word joy gets used. If you will, Whitman was very influenced by the fact that Thomas Jefferson and his pals 2 times used the word happiness in the famous Declaration of Independence. 1 hour to madness and joy. Oh, furious. Oh, confine me not. This is going to be a poem of freedom, right? Don't confine me. And then 2 times we get these poetic asides with the parenthetics that obviously make us think of Emily Dickinson. What is this that frees me so in storms? What do my shouts and lightnings and raging winds mean? Who's he asking this question to other than obviously you, the reader? Oh, we're back to it. To drink the mystic deliria deeper than any other man. This is going to be his poetic project as well. Oh, savage and tender, and then of course the word achings we know well. And then again a second poetic aside with the parenthetics. I bequeath them to you, my children. Remember, this is called Children of Adam. I shall tell them to you for reasons, O bridegroom and bride. In quote, in parenthetic again, right? Oh, to be yielded to you. It's an interesting word, this word yielded. Later it's going to be draw. Oh, to be yielded to you, whoever you are, and you to be yielded to me in defiance of the world. This defiance is a part of his poetic tendencies, right? Oh, and then sounding very much like his Milton and Paradise Lost. Oh, to return to paradise. Oh, bashful, we've heard that one before, and feminine. Oh, to draw you, before it was yield and now it's draw. To draw you to me, to plant on you for the first time the lips of a determined man. And we're going to get some sexual language, obviously, in this set of lines as well. Oh, the puzzle. Do you remember Song of Myself, passage 4, both in and out of the game? Here it's puzzle, right? The thrice tied knot. We think of obviously the Gorgon knot, right? The deep and dark pool, all untied and illuminated. This is what, for Whitman, great artists, great poets will do, right? They shine the light, we might say. Oh, to speed where there is space enough and air enough at last. If you're counting, that's the 10th exclamation point, right? And then back to more of this too. To be absolved, and notice the repetition of at least 4 of these in order. To be absolved from previous ties and conventions, I from mine and you from yours, that ability to not feel somehow kept in. Go back to the very last lines of passage 1 of Song of Myself. To find a new, unthought of nonchalance with the best of nature. And notice it is capitalized nature, making us obviously think of our Emerson. To have the gag removed from one's mouth, and there it is, finally. I mean, this is the goal of all of Leaves of Grass, certainly the Children of Adam and the columnist poems to follow. For Whitman, he wants to have that gag relieved, right? I want to say what I want to say. I don't want to have to worry about what other people think, right? To have the feeling today or any day, what feeling? I am sufficient as I am. And of course, this construction of I am and the I am that I am from Exodus 3:14 obviously is ever present in his mind. Oh, something unproved. Something in a trance. Go back and take a look at the way he loves this notion of the trance. To escape, right? Where again, this idea of freedom, escaping. To escape utterly from others' anchors and holes. The idea of anchors, of course, for Whitman and his audience, and made a lot of sense because, of course, they knew about anchors through all the boats that they saw, right? To drive, it's a great verb, right? To drive free. To love, free, and of course we're back to the idea of freedom. To dash, he loves that, right? Song of Myself, passage 46, dash with the hair. To dash, reckless and dangerous. He loves these words, he loves this idea. To court destruction, it's a fun word, court, right? With taunts, with invitations. To ascend, to leap, he loves this word, leap, to the heavens of a love indicated to me. To rise thither with my inebriate soul. And again, if you're counting, just count the number of times the word to gets used, right? To be lost, if it must be so. And here, of course, this is directly his Dante, right? From the Divine Comedy, we don't go to hell, we go through hell for Dante. And here it is, right? To be lost, if it must be so. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, including being lost. To feed, now we're to the final lines, the remainder of my life with 1 hour, and then notice the preposition gets changed from to of. With 1 hour of fullness and freedom. And there's your 24th exclamation point. With 1 brief hour of madness and joy. Notice not to madness and joy. The subtlety that Whitman plays games. It's fascinating when we study the ways in which he will edit heavily these poems to make his rhetorical point. By the way, did you notice the word brief? And go back and look in Leaves of Grass the way brief will get used. He's always pointing out how brief our time at the park swinging actually is. Why? Because the van has always been waiting, and nobody gets to swing at the park forever. You ain't met no 200-year-old people. Your life and the joy that you can have is brief, and therefore enjoy it well. Well, obviously that's one of the major messages here at 2A. Life is about joy, and enjoying that joy, being aware of that joy, and the madness that would attend it as well. At 2B, well, obviously, I love to point out the way you can create energy through punctuation. 24 exclamation points, 12 of these O's, right, that will construct a certain kind of energy and dynamism. At 3A, in relationships to other texts, we've made a number of them within the text of Leaves of Grass. I think of Emerson's nature. I think I mentioned already of Dante, and obviously our Milton as well. Finally, at 3B, a question that helps you to own a set of lines like this. When was the last time that you really felt this kind of joy, this kind of madness? And when were you able to at all express in any way that feeling of joy, that feeling of madness? I hope that our reading of these poems is doing that for you, especially if you have the chance to read them out loud, especially outside. It's even better. Thank you.